Asteroids game in Unity. In this video we're going to be making it so that we can shoot this alien spacecraft that we added in the last video and score some points, and then we'll also start getting into how we're going to make this spacecraft appear during our levels and how to make him come back when we go between levels and things like that. Have several features to add to our aliens. We'll see how much we get done in this one. So let's jump right into it. Okay, the next thing we need to do then is make the spaceship react to my bullets. So if I shoot the spaceship, I want him to be destroyed as well. So let's go to the alien, and now we have bullets on the player that are called bullets, that are tagged as bullets. So let's make the on trigger enter 2D function here as well. Alright, on trigger enter 2D, and then we want to say collider 2D, other, and put the body in of our function. Okay, so here again we're going to say other compare tag. This time the tag we're looking for is bullet, because that's what we tagged our player's bullets with. So and we got to put this in the if statement, so let's go back and make sure we put the if in front of there, and another closing parenthesis there. Okay, so if he gets hit by a bullet, then we want to destroy the spaceship. Now, I don't want to be destroying and reinstantiating the spaceship. Basically, I want one spaceship to come out at some point during each level, and once he's been destroyed or he's done his job, blown up our player, whatever, then we want him to just go away. Okay, but we don't want to remove him. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of park him off to the side somewhere until we need him. So we're going to kind of just turn him off and then bring him back later on. So that's another type of a system we have to make here. For now, what we'll do is we will make a function here that's going to make the spaceship be disabled, basically. Okay, so we're going to want, of course, play an explosion and have a sound happen. We can use the same explosions that we're already using when the bullet hits the asteroid, so we can copy some of that code over. But let's go ahead and say destroy the alien, and we're going to do that by calling some sort of a function. So let's make a function here called we'll call it void. We'll call it void disable, because basically we're going to disable the spaceship. So here we'll just call that disable, and then we'll put the instructions we want to have here. So first thing we're going to want to do is have an explosion, and then we're going to want to we're going to go ahead and turn off the colliders and the sprite renderer. Okay, we'll do that. So let's go ahead and get our explosion set up. So we need a variable, a public game object variable. That's going to be for our explosion. It's kind of like what we've done before, and we'll link that in from outside. Matter of fact, if we go to the asteroid script here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have our explosion, then we're going to come down here and we're going to make the explosion happen. So here we're going to do the same thing. We're going to destroy the beam that comes in, or the bullet that comes in. So we're going to do that, but then we're going to instantiate our explosion here. So actually I'm just going to go ahead and take these couple of lines out of here, and I'm going to put them right here in our disable. So we're going to make a new explosion and instantiate it, and then make sure that we're cleaning up after ourselves by putting a destroy 3-second time delay destroy on it. Okay, and then turning off the colliders and the sprite, we're going to want to do that like we did with the player. So let's go up and add those things in. So we're going to need a link to the sprite renderer. And we'll just call this sprite renderer. I spelled sprite wrong here. Alright, and then we're going to want to link to the collider as well. So public collider 2D, we'll just call this collider. Alright, so we'll link those out in the inspector. And then what we can do is right here in disable, we can just say collider dot enabled equals false. That'll turn the collider off. And we'll also say sprite renderer dot enabled equals false. And that will just cause him to disappear and go away. We can also stop his movement so that he's not trying to do all these things we don't need him to do and shoot and everything. So let's do this. Let's make a Boolean variable up here. And we'll call this a bool, and we'll call it disabled. Okay, and we'll just put a little note on this. True when currently disabled. That's kind of what that means, it's true. So, alright, so at this point then, down here in disable, we'll go ahead and we'll trigger that as well. We'll say disabled equals true, because he is now disabled. And then we can use this Boolean in both our update and our fixed update functions, so that he's not trying to move or trying to shoot or do any of that. So all we would need to do here is to say if disabled, if that's true, then we'll just say return. That will just cause update to stop running right here. Whenever it says return, it just says stop. Go back to the next thing that you have to do. And we can do the same thing right here. So let's just copy that. And in our fixed update, right before we do anything here, we'll paste that in. And the same thing. If we're disabled, we'll just return. So now we won't be trying to move. We'll not be doing all this math that isn't necessary right now while he's disabled. Alright, and I'm actually going to move the explosion part here. As I'm thinking about this some more, let's move this down here to our on trigger enter. Because there may be cases where we want to disable him where he hasn't exploded, okay? So we'll just say if it's the bolt that hits him, we'll go ahead and make our explosion. And then we will call disable, and disable will handle turning off his colliders and setting disable to true. Alright, so that should now work. Let's see what happens out here in our script. If we do that, we have a couple things to set up on our alien. So here's our alien. And we now have to tie in the explosion. So let's find our explosion prefab that we've been using. That was the plasma explosion, I believe. So I'm finding that in my files here. So let's go to the alien and let's feed in that plasma explosion into there. And then the sprite renderer, we can grab it right here and drag it down. Collider, we can also, instead of grabbing like the collider here, I could also go over here and just grab the alien and drag it back in, and Unity will just strip out the component that it's looking for. So we can get it two different ways there. So we've got that all ready to go. Okay, so let's see if I can actually shoot him before he shoots me. So we hit him and he disabled. Let's pause this for a second. So the alien is right here. So he's just sitting here in the scene, but his his sprite render's turned off, and his collider's turned off. So he's just not going to do anything. If I start playing again, he's just going to sit there. Like, here goes an asteroid that would be passing through him. So he's good. He's just right there. Okay, so that's how we can get rid of him. We're also going to want to score some points. So we should probably put some point scoring in here as well. So if you remember, to score points from the asteroids, we had the asteroids calling the game manager or calling the player, sorry. We had the asteroid sending a message to the player saying, hey, score some points. So we will do the same here for the alien. The alien has a link to the player as well. So let's just copy this, and then we'll change whatever we have to. But this is the function that we want to send. So the alien has a link to the player called player. So same thing here. When we get hit by a bullet, we will go ahead and do the explosion. Let's go ahead and put this up top. We can put this in here in a couple spots, but let's just do that. So player, send message, score points, points. Now, we need a points variable in here for our alien so he knows how many points he's worth. So let's go up here. Let's do another public int points, and we can set that out in the inspector, and we can figure out how many points this alien should be worth when we blow him up. So let's save that, and we'll go back out to our alien here in Unity, and he's got points here now, so maybe let's make him worth, I don't know, 500 points. Okay, so let's hit play now. Let's see if we can shoot our alien here. And we got 500 points. If you look at the score up here, score 500. So there we go. Alright, so that's getting points. Now we've got a way for the alien to go away, but we also have to have a way for the alien to come back. So at some point during the level, we want the alien to turn himself on and come across the screen and try to get the player. So again, several different ideas or ways we could do this. We could have the game manager handle when that happens, or we could just have the alien handle when it happens. Since the alien is never actually going to go away, he's always going to exist, and we're never turning his script off. The script will always be running. We could have the alien at the start of each level. We could have him pick a random number, and that would be the number of seconds he's going to wait before he spawns himself in. So we could do something like that, or we could have the game manager do it. So let's think about this for a second. Let's have the game manager do this, because as the game gets tougher, we want the alien to actually get a little harder. So we're going to want to be able to go and adjust the alien's stats a little bit for each level, and we'll kind of figure out how to do that in a progressive way. So what we'll do here then is every time we have a new level, we're going to set up our alien to get ready to go. Okay? So let's go ahead and just make a link to our alien here, because the alien is going to need to be kind of controlled by the game master here. So let's just say alien, not alien script. I'll call it alien ship. Actually, that's why I did that. Okay, so let's do a public game object alien. So we'll have a link to here from the alien, and we will go ahead and assign that out in the inspector to our alien. And then whenever we're going to start a new level, what we want to do is have it update our alien. Now our alien, we're going to go ahead and set his his statistics for the first level in his script, and then we'll go in here and update it on new levels going up. Okay, but we've got a way to link him here. Let's go out to Unity. Let's click on our game manager, and let's go ahead and drag our alien into there. So now he's got a link to the alien. Let's go back to the alien here, and let's have the alien have a little more information about himself. Let's make a public float, and we'll call this time before spawning. And we're not really spawning him, but time before he shows up in the list there. And we will go ahead and set that up. That'll be in seconds. So how many seconds are we going to wait into the level before he's going to spawn? And then we've already got a number of points that he's worth that we can change. We've already got a bullet speed and a shooting delay that we can change. So those are all things we could adjust to make him harder in each level to beat. Okay, so let's now go down here into the start function. Actually, what we're going to do is go into our update function here, and what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to check to see what the time on the game clock is, and make sure we're keeping track of that. So something else we need to know here: time before spawning has to know time in seconds. So when we enable this guy, we're going to want to capture the current spawn time. We want to know when he spawned. Or no, we want to know when the level started. So let's do a float. We'll call it level start time. And this is going to be the time when each level starts. So at the very beginning of the game here, when we start, we're setting this up. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that our player is disabled. So we're going to call disable. We're going to call disable. Because when the game starts, we want him to be disabled. Okay. Now we're also going to want to capture the level start time here. Now this is going to be a little different for future levels, but we'll just say level start time equals time.time. So this will be the time when the game actually starts right here. Okay, now in our update function, if we're disabled now, we can check to see if it's time for us to be undisabled, all right, or enabled. So if disabled, instead of just returning here, let's do another check here. Let's say if we're disabled, and then we're going to say if time.time is greater than, and then it's going to be level start time plus our time before spawning. Whoops. Alright, so first we're going to see if we're disabled, because we really don't need to check this. If we're already enabled, then we've already started. We've already entered the level. So if we're disabled, then every frame we'll check to see, hey, is the time of the time clock bigger than when this level started, plus how long we're waiting before we spawn in. Okay? If it is, then it's time to spawn in, or it's time to be enabled. So we're going to have another function here. We'll just put it down here by disabled, and we'll call this enable. And what enable is going to do is it's going to position our spaceship off to the side of the screen somewhere, and then we're going to go ahead and turn everything on so that our alien will enter from off screen somewhere. Alright, so first we're going to move to start position. Alright, and then we will turn on collider and sprite. So that will be ready to go. Now, let's save this for the moment. Let's go back out into Unity, and let's think about start positions here. Let's drop in an empty game object. We'll call this alien Okay, it's going to be our alien start position. And then we can get our move tool, and we can position this anywhere we want. So this is our alien start position. So for instance, let's just maybe put it over here, kind of right where he is. It's just an empty game object. Then what we can do in our alien script is we can make a link to that. So let's make a public game object, and we'll call this start position. And then we will link that in the inspector. So let's go down here though to time before spawning. We're going to call this enable, and then what we're going to do is we'll just say transform dot position equals start position. Whoops. Start position dot position. And as a matter of fact, we're not gonna call this a game object up here. We just need this to be a transform. So let's just make this a transform, because we just need the position here. We don't need anything else. So if I do that, then this now works. Start position dot position. So that'll move the alien to that spot. Okay. And then right here, we'll just go ahead and turn on the collider. So it's going to be the opposite of what we did here. So let's just copy these 3 lines and paste them in right here. And we're just doing the opposite. We're setting this to true. We're setting this to true. And we're setting disabled to false, so that our spaceship will know that he's not disabled, then he can start doing his thing. Okay, so thing I forgot to do here was right here, an update. If it's time to start, then we'll go ahead and call enable. So that will call that function, and we're good to go. All right, so that was a lot of kind of jumping around, but basically what we're going to do is when the game first starts, this will get us started with the game on level 1. We're going to capture the time the game started. That's level start time. We're going to specify time before spawning. Now, time before spawning can be random, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's just put this in here, so we won't know exactly when it's going to be, but we'll say time before spawning. And we'll just set that equal to random dot range. And let's pick a number between, let's say the player needs to have a few seconds here. Let's say maybe 5 seconds, and maybe as much as 20 seconds. And if he clears the level before then this will get reset. Okay, so it's going to pick a float number between 5 and 20 seconds, and we'll store it right here. And then, if it's disabled, which it will be because we're calling disable first, then it will check, and when this amount of time, 5 to 20 seconds has passed, it'll turn it on. And then everything will go. And if we shoot him, it'll turn him back off. Okay? Now, the other thing we could do is we could make the spaceship go away once he kills the player, because that was a problem, but let's just take this one step at a time. So let's save it. Let's see if I've thought of everything here. Alright, so we've got our alien. Okay, yeah, he needs his start position, so he needs the link to this guy right here, alien start position. There it is, and then this will fill in automatically. So let's just hit play and then pause this here. Now you'll notice that it's picked 19.25 seconds before it's going to spawn. It's disabled right now. He's sitting out here where he was. Okay, so let's see if I can just survive here for a few seconds and see if he pops into the screen. So we're just going to wait that, it's going to take 20 seconds for him to show up, but maybe I should have picked a shorter time period for testing this, so you don't have to just wait with me here. I'll probably speed this part up a little bit. And there he goes. So you notice now, he starts shooting at me before he gets on screen. So that could be a problem. So perhaps the start position needs to be right on the edge of the screen instead of off screen. Okay, another thing I'm noticing is that his beams are passing under the asteroids. So we probably want to have the beams travel above the asteroids. Okay, and he hit me. I didn't hit him though, so we probably ought to have him go away on a collision with the player as well. If he happens to collide, it should probably blow them both up. A couple of things to fix there. The laser beam thing is pretty easy to do. Let's go to my prefabs where the beam is. Let's just turn the order and layer here up. This will make him draw on top. So let's give it something like a 5, because I know nothing is that high in the order. And that should make those laser beams go on top all the time. Let's go ahead and move our alien start position. Maybe like right here in the corner of the screen. And let's have our... so our alien should pop to there, and then let's go into the script here and let's make this a little less time for him to pop in. So in the alien script, time before spawning, and let's make that between 5 and 10 seconds so we don't have to wait that long. Alright, so let's save that, let's test that out again. Let's see if that looks better, because we really don't want the player to get shot from off screen there. That probably wouldn't feel too fair. Alright, so we should have him pop in. It looks like it picked about 9.5 seconds, so anytime now he should pop in. There he is, and he popped right in the corner there, and he's moving at the player. That gives the player time to try to shoot him. And if we manage to shoot him here, he's going to shoot me too, isn't he? Alright, whoops, he did. He got me too. Now, you notice that he respawned right away on the side here. So that's because in the update function, we're checking to see every time. So we actually want to have a way to make sure that once he's dead, he doesn't come back. So maybe we should do this a different way. Instead of checking here in the update function, let's do this. Okay, so now that we have a time before spawning here, let's actually call enable. So remember, we have enable here. Let's actually call enable with a invoke. That way it'll only happen one time. So let's go ahead and invoke enable. And let's do it at, let's see, time before spawning seconds. Okay, so that way we'll pick it. We'll go ahead and set that event up for the future. It'll call enable. Enable will turn them all on and get him going. And then once he's disabled, he'll stay disabled and he won't come back like he did before. So this is going to be a better, more simple solution. So let's go out there and try that out real quick. Okay, so he's going to pop up here in 6 seconds. So any moment here now, he's going to pop up and start shooting at me. There he is. Okay, and if I can kill him, let's kind of see if one of those bullets nicks him. Oh, I missed. Alright, there we go. Now he went away and he'll stay away until the next level. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.